Welcome to the Hollywood Persona Podcast. Here are your hosts, Mitch and Ant.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hollywood Persona Podcast. My name is Mitch Burns, and I am here with Anthony. Ant, how are you, Ant?
Hey, Mitch. I'm great. Happy to do
Good.
this episode. This is our favorite one to do probably each year, I would say.
Yeah, we are going to be going over our top 10s. Top 10 of the year for each of us. God, we should have bet on, how many crossover do you think?
I think it's hard, man, because like we were saying before this, it is so hard to pare it down to just 10. I had to take 16, 20 down to 16 down to... So, to answer your question, maybe four. We have, we see a lot of different movies.
Yeah.
You catch streaming, which is, I think, what makes this podcast work a lot, is you catch a lot of the streaming that I don't. So you'll have, I think you'll have some stuff in there that I won't. So yeah, I'm going to guess 4 that will be the same on both our lists.
I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
But I'm probably wrong. So yeah, we're going to do our top 10 of the year. We're also going to review The Beekeeper, which just left theaters, is now on VOD. So if you want to watch that, it is available for everyone now. That's how I watched it. Ant watched it a few weeks. Actually, he's seen it twice now. And so we're going to discuss that. And we got some movie news, as always, and some other stuff. So... I guess podcast business, the only other thing I'll say is that today was my last episode with the Film Vault guys. I usually do their listener lists and fanfiction and stuff. But now I am trying to devote my time to, this podcast and other things, and, so.
Yeah, you did it for 4 years.
Yeah.
For free, just for fun. And that's totally respectable. And, you started doing it when they didn't have a producer or they were in transit.
Yeah,
They now have they have a full-time one. So that's totally something their producer kind of should be doing, really.
Yeah. I love all those guys. So it was
absolutely
definitely hard to say goodbye, but I've been thinking about it for a while now, and just it's time. But the Film Vault, we love it. So go over and give them a listen. And if you listen to today's episode, you can hear them say some really nice things about me. So movie news. Oh, we got Christopher Nolan won the Directors Guild Award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Theatrical Feature Film for Oppenheimer at a ceremony in Beverly Hills Saturday. This is the directors.
Make that sound more formal with the title of that award. Jesus.
Yeah, Directors Guild Award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Theatrical. That's a long film. Jesus.
Yeah, come on.
So yeah, so
best director.
I think he's never won Best Director, so I'll be happy if he wins. But yeah. And by happy he wins, I mean the Oscar, not I know he already won directors, but the DGA, this is a good predictor of who could win the Oscar. Yeah. So we'll see. Celine Song took home the prize for outstanding achievement for a first-time director for Past Lives, and the director for 20 Days in Mariupol won for best directorial achievement in documentary.
That's cool. That's cool. That's a good award to have. That movie was directed excellently, especially for a first-time director. I think she had experience with the stage. She was because I saw that movie back in like April or somewhere in Chicago. They had an early screening that she was at, and she did a Q&A, and that was cool to see her in person. And she talked about how she had some stage experience, so it's cool to see her make that leap. But yeah. Really, really cool.
I think she'll have a good career ahead of her. She's made quite the splash. A new Predator movie is in the works from the director of Prey. So the last Predator movie that was released on Hulu last year, 2022, I think. So director Dan Trachtenberg, it is said to start production. What did I say?
you said Trachtenberg, but I happen to know his name because he is often on the movie podcast called The Filmcast. He started a podcast years ago with one of their permanent hosts. So he comes on every time he does a new movie. So I've heard from him. I've heard of him and about him a lot, and that's really exciting because I think we both really liked Prey.
Yeah. It's going to start production in July, and as of now, I think it's going to be called Badlands, and it's supposed to be set in the future, so we will see. I have faith in him. I guess I was kind of hoping for another one set in the past, kind of, but maybe he wants to branch out, do something a little different, and I have faith. Moana
I'm
2.
Sure it'll be I'm sure it'll be better than that recent one we had with the kid from Room and
but The Predator, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be better than that. That one wasn't very good.
Moana 2 was announced for November of this year, which was really surprising. Teaser trailer has already been released. Teaser trailer kind of thing was released for like the Moana live action. And
right. So they're making. So wait, let me just make sure I got this right. They're making a Moana 2, which supposedly was supposed to be a TV series.
Yeah.
But they then pulled it into a film and said it's coming out this year, which means to change from a TV series to a movie is not a small undertaking. So that's a lot of work. And then they're also still doing the live action one where The Rock plays Maui still. Is that right?
Yes, but like there was a teaser trailer released for that, but now there's talk that it's going to be pushed to like 2025.
So they don't compete. Okay, so they don't compete with each other, right?
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense, I guess.
But Bob Iger's been going crazy just announcing like all these sequels because they're trying to make money, like Toy Story 3, Inside Out 2, Frozen 3. He is pushing, and so we'll see how things go for Disney in the next few years because they had a rough year. The Oscars have announced a new category for casting.
I saw that.
Yeah, it won't be presented until the 2026 Oscars. But
what do you think of that?
I think it's a good idea. I've always thought it's been talked about for a long time.
I'm surprised we haven't seen stunts. Best stunt performance.
I know.
The only downside to that argument I've heard that is kind of valid is, will that push people to do more dangerous things, to try and, and kill people? But I would say they're already doing that. Look at Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Look what the Burj Khalifa, the taking off on the outside of an airplane, jumping off a cliff in Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning. So I think they should add a stunt performance because those people often get injured already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see them expand it, give out more rewards. Movie making is a massive team project, so that's a good thing.
Even if they're giving these awards away at the technical awards, which are the day before, right? And it's fine, like we don't have to see them. I personally wish the shorts would go over to the technical awards side, but sometimes it's nice to watch those.
They could shuffle that up, bring some from the techs over to the broadcast. Nobody watches the shorts. We do, but nobody does. Just nobody does.
The shorts are for the time for people to go to the bathroom.
I like them. I remember a few, but I'm realistic. Nobody watches that shit.
Me too. And then Carl Weathers, best known for his roles in Predator, Happy Gilmore, and The Mandalorian, and of course Apollo Creed in the Rocky franchise, has passed away from a heart condition at the age of 76.
It's funny, I wouldn't know him. Of course, I recognize the name, but since you mentioned Happy Gilmore, it immediately clicks. Like, oh yeah, that's the one with the finger, right?
Yes.
Or the fake hand. The alligator bit his hand off.
Yeah, and he's like waving at the end and with in heaven with the yeah. So how was I've heard But tell me about how awful the box office was this last weekend.
Yeah, so we're going to transition to box office for last weekend. This was weekend covering the 9th through the 11th, which is, of course, when the American NFL Super Bowl happens. That is historically usually one of the worst, if not the worst, box office amounts, cumulative total. So take Thursday night to Sunday, add up the total for all movies, for all tickets sold. It was usually one of the worst of the year. This year it was, but this year it was really, really bad. With
these numbers are worst low
since 1990 is the furthest I could go back to a time where the total amount, I can't remember the number and I didn't write it down. It was something like 15 or 19 million total for all, not just the top 10 movies, for all movies shown in all theaters domestically across the US and Canada was only 19 or 20 million. And the last time that it was that low for a Thursday to Sunday period was 1990. But what you got to remember is that's not adjusting for inflation. So if you adjust those 90 numbers for inflation, then it's way worse. And I'd have to go back to, I don't know, the 70s or some shit. So it was really bad. And it's funny that 1990 weekend was a Super Bowl weekend.
Okay.
That was the worst weekend then. But here's what the numbers were. So Argyle took the number one spot, even though Lisa Frankenstein was a new movie. So that's not a good sign there. It had a 64% drop. It made 6.2 million. Its total is at 28 cross domestic. Then Lisa Frankenstein in its first week came in at only 3.7, which is also a mile marker because it's one of the worst opening movies to open in over 3,000 theaters. On that list, you have Reminiscence, which is number one. Do you remember that Hugh Grant one or Hugh Jackman?
Yes.
But that's that one's not too fair because that was 2021. That was when Project Popcorn was going on and HBO was releasing movies directly to streaming and theaters at the same time.
And COVID was still up and down.
COVID was still in play. Some theaters weren't. People weren't going. So anyway, it's bad to be on this list. It was like number 12 or so. Another one that was on here that I remember was Hoot, the owl movie, the Michael Bay owl movie.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, yes, yes. No, you're right, Hoot.
Yeah.
Or no, are you talking about the Guardians of Ga'Hoole?
No, fact check me while I go on to the next one. I think it was Hoot. Maybe it was the Guardians. Shoot, I might have fucked that up. I might have just messed that up.
Keep going.
Maybe the poster says Hoot on it or something.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
All right. So Lisa Frankenstein, pretty bad opening. I've seen the movie. It's okay. It's all right. I think just quick notes. It should have been rated R for what it was going for. We can review it once you see it. I know you'll probably eventually see that one.
I think this weekend,
since it's horror adjacent. You can get to it when you can. Like it takes a while to get going, and it really it's kind of like Warm Bodies or Jennifer's Body. It's just kind of
it's written by Diablo Cody.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Who did Jennifer's Body?
I could see it being like an emo teen in her, sophomore year in high school, loving the movie because it's kind of hyper focused. And Diablo Cody's work is kind of like that anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it came in number 2 with only 3.7 million. Not great. Beekeeper, that we'll review in just a minute, another 3.3. It's at 54 million total, which ain't too bad. Wonka, which has spent 9 weeks in the top 5, made another 3 million this weekend. And then Migration right behind it at 2.9. And that's also legged out to 110 million domestic, which is great for Illumination. Still not as much of a moneymaker as their other movies, but
but it's hanging on. Yeah. So I'll just quickly. Thank you, sir. I will just quickly talk about our box office draft. So you have 3 movies in the running now. And those are Argyle, ISS, and Book of Clarence. And I have 4 movies that have been or are out in theaters, and those are The Beekeeper, Mean Girls, Night Swim, and Lisa Frankenstein, which just came out. So I have 175 million for my studio. Your studio is sitting at negative 181 million. So like I said, I texted you the other day with a picture, and I said, I am just soaking this in before Dune opens. But this weekend we each have 2 movies opening up and adding to our list, and that is Madame Web for you. That's the bomb I gave you.
Yep.
And for me is Bob Marley, One Love, both of which are being trashed on Rotten Tomatoes. Bob Marley has like
Madame Web.
Yeah, Bob Marley has like a 40-ish%. So not trashed, but with 55 reviews, it's at like 42%.
You know, I mean, I'm not too surprised because they saved it for February.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign. And they've been pushing that trailer since, I swear to God, last summer. I'm so glad not to see it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to see the movie. I'm a huge Bob Marley fan, have always been. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was kind of pushed onto me as a young kid. My aunts, uncles, family members really love him. And I kind of associate it with a beach, family vacation. Of course, lots of people do. It's reggae. So I'm definitely going to see it. But that's too bad. I hadn't looked at the reviews. I knew Madame Web was doing what we expected. But we'll I assume we'll review both of those here.
I think so.
Next week.
So, all of my movies have made money except for Lisa Frankenstein, which luckily only had a $13 million budget, but it only made $3 million in its opening weekend. So
it'll probably make that.
It could. But yeah, you have Argyle, which is has only made $59 million. Yeah, $200 million budget. It's only made $59 million. ISS, which is basically dead in the water now. I've kind of stopped tracking that one at 6,500,000. And then Book of Clarence, which has a stupid crazy budget of 40 million, and it's kind of dead in the water too with 6 million. So but you still have Dune 2, Ghostbusters, Kung Fu Panda. You got me probably beat, but we will see what happens. So anyways, that's Box Office Draft. That was Box Office.
All right, so these are our top 10 movies that we saw in 2023. Actually, let's say this. These are the top 10 movies that we saw that came out in 2023. That, we do this episode late in the year because we try and see as much as we can. I'm sure there's stuff, every year there's stuff we haven't seen that we will end up seeing after. And if we do, we'll mention it. That happened last year with the Starling Girl, I think, and that one about the 2 young boys.
Yes, that one definitely for me, yeah.
And so, people just deal with it. We can't see everything. Especially we can't see everything because they don't release everything to us in time anyway. So, as we said at the top, it's really hard to do. I wanted to say this. I told Mitch this earlier. My list isn't in a specific order. Really, my 1, 2, and 3 kind of are, but the rest I could shuffle around. It's hard enough to do just 10 to recommend that I like the most, so just keep that in mind. So how do you want to do it? You want to alternate and go 10 down to 1?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
You can go first.
Okay.
I want to put I just want to make a little tiny note on mine. So go ahead with your number 10.
Oh man, okay, drum roll please.
Nice.
Okay, I have it set in stone, people. I've been changing my list, and like Mr. Ant said, these could be all over, but my number 10, I can't leave it off. It's The Passenger.
Cool.
Directed by Carter Smith, starring Kyle Gallner and Johnny Birchtold. It is a little movie that came out. I just can't get it out of my mind. just hit me on a lot of personal level. I'll just say it's Randolph Bradley is perfectly content fading into the background, but when his coworker Benson, played by Kyle Gallner, snaps and goes on a violent killing spree, he's forced to face his fears and confront his troubled past in order to find a way to survive. And yeah, this goes down a lot of really dark paths, a lot of really interesting paths. It makes you think. There's probably about 10 movies that may have been better than this, but I really like this one, and it's just one that has stuck with me since I've seen it. So.
And where did you see this?
It was streaming somewhere. I thought Shudder, but I'll check.
Okay. I just couldn't. It didn't sound familiar to me, so I think that was one that streamed that I didn't make a point to catch.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 10 is one we talked about quite a bit on here, and we lamented that it wasn't seen by lots of people. It is The Creator, directed by Gareth Edwards, starring John David Washington. And it's that space sci-fi epic story that did so much with only an $80 million budget. You know, we just talked about Argylle having a $200 million budget, and comparing it to what they were able to do with this $80 million budget is just shocking. We're talking about a space station. We're talking about landscapes. We're talking about shooting on location. We're talking about tons of CGI. And Argylle has some of that, but it doesn't have a space station. It doesn't have landscapes. So, I was just really impressed with it. I saw it twice in the theater. Saw it once at home. I showed it to a good friend of mine who loves sci-fi. And the second and third time I watched it, it just really sunk in as, damn, this is such a good movie. It really did underperform. So we won't probably see a Creator 2. But yeah, I loved it. The Creator. It's great. Check it out if you haven't seen it, if you like science fiction.
And you can watch that right now on Disney Plus. So definitely go see that. It might be Hulu in the States, so check Hulu or Disney Plus. But in Canada, it's Disney Plus. And then The Passenger is on Paramount Plus. So there are two movies you can see right now. Both are number 10s.
Cool. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is, I'll say right ahead, it's a Netflix movie directed by one of my favorite directors, David Fincher, and that is The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender as a hitman. What else can I say? He's a hitman. He is a perfectionist. He's perfect at his job. But one thing goes wrong and it changes his whole life. Yeah. And it takes him down a path of trying to tie up a bunch of loose ends. And what I love about it is he always says like, "Oh, I've got to be perfect." He has this monologue. Stick to the plan, and then he fucks up the plan or whatever. But like
improvises,
improvises. Good. It's a really fun one, and it's another great one to add to Fincher's catalog.
Yeah, people listening, if you don't recognize the name David Fincher, he did the Facebook movie, and he's written some of the best scripts in the past 10 years. I think.
He did Seven.
He's prolific.
Yeah. So that's my number 9.
All right.
What is yours?
So my number 9 is a movie we talked about on the show. We both saw it. We both liked it. I wanted to put it on this list to, again, give it more exposure. This is To Catch a Killer. This is with Shailene Woodley. It came out way early last year. I was still in Chicago. It came out in April of last year. And it's just one of those that slips through the cracks. So directed by Damien Safran, who I don't know any other movies from him. Baltimore, sniper shooting happens, and Shailene Woodley is kind of a green-horned new detective, and she's got to figure it out. It's that sounds like a typical noir detective story you've seen 100 times, but this one was made with care, made with an interesting character, and just done really well. I loved it. It's called To Catch a Killer, and I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon.
That director is well known for Wild Tales, if you ever saw that.
I haven't heard of it.
I highly suggest that. That was his last movie. It's in another language, and it came out in 2014. So, yeah, that's a good one. It is definitely in my top 25. Cool. It's so, which doesn't seem high, but there were 25 movies I really loved this year. So.
Yeah. All right. What's your number 8?
My number 8 has already been mentioned, and that is The Creator.
Cool.
So I won't go too much into it. I really like this movie. And part of me wonders if it's in my top 10 because people just seem to, brush it off, when I think it was a really, one of the best sci-fi movies we've had in quite a while. Especially Star Wars caliber. People are waiting for the next Star Wars, and I'm like,
this is the director of Rogue One.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, exactly. This is director of Rogue One. It's very sci-fi, spaceships, all that stuff. Like you people that are begging for more nerdy stuff. They don't want to go see anything new, and they're the same people that will just say well, there's nothing good in theaters. No,
right? Or they only
Creator is. Yes, exactly. The Creator is great.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to mention that. It's not based on a book, comic book, anything. It's a totally new idea.
Exactly.
And so it hurts to see it not do that well,
Yeah, it really hurts. But
okay, that's cool. All right, so that's
what can you do
so far? Yeah.
Yep. So your number?
My number
8? No, 7.
7. Yeah. All right, my number 7 is Spider-Man.
Wait. You did your number 8?
Spider-Verse. Yeah, The Creator, To Catch a Killer.
Oh.
And now Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Right?
So that's your number 8.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, sorry. I said 7, so I apologize. Okay.
No, that's my fault. That's probably my problem with not numbering them specifically.
No, that's good.
Okay, so this was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I would be surprised if this isn't on your list. You don't have to say that just yet, but pretty much everybody listening probably knows what this is. This was the animated version, Miles Morales. It's the sequel, and it is a cliffhanger, which we have to wait, to supposedly till 2025 summer. We have a whole nother year to get the conclusion of this, but it's just incredible. It's just incredible. The style is so creative, and it pulls you in. It's like you're reading a comic book coming from someone who's never read a comic book. It's fast paced. You know who these people are. The characters are relatable. I would say you don't have to see the first one that they did, Into the Spider-Verse. But it's helpful. It feels like really this is what Spider-Man is: a teenage, young, not someone who's playing young but is actually 25, having a relationship problem in New York City. It's just quintessential Spider-Man. It's a damn good movie. All ages can watch this movie. It's really fun, and I can't wait for its sequel. So that's my number 8, Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Across the Spider-Verse. Gosh, I get those confused.
I'll always have trouble. In 10 years, someone's going to be like, hey, did you see this? And I'm like, I don't know which one that is. Sorry. But yes. So my number 7.
Yeah, this is 7. Sorry.
Was a last minute change for me. And that is Naiad.
Cool.
I had to put Naiad on here. I absolutely adore this film. It's in some ways it's a straightforward biopic, and in other ways it's not. You got Annette Bening playing. What's her first name? Anyways, her last name is Naiad, and she's playing this woman. She's trying to get across the ocean. She's trying to do something that's never been done before, and
something she failed at doing when she was young.
Yeah, and now at the age of 60, she's going to try again. And I think it's just a beautiful story of perseverance. And I I think the acting is great. Yeah,
Yep.
Friendship, because she's, got her friend Jodie Foster. They used to date, but they don't anymore, which I love that, because it's like two friends trying to make it work, and being close, and Annette Bening's character Naiad, she's not a crazy likable person. I loved her, but like you're not. Yeah, she can be bitchy, like, and which is good. So,
yeah, she's what are they like? Prickly. She's prickly, and
prickly. That's a good word. Yeah,
yeah, she's real prickly, and that makes it feel real, like, because that's how real people are. Not everyone's not picturesque and nice and friendly. The whole, like, it felt real. And this is made by this is the first feature of the guys that made Free Solo, that amazing documentary about Alex Honnold climbing El Capitan.
Yeah.
So a lot of people had problems with this movie, or some of the problems people had with this was the splicing in of real footage of the real Naiad. I thought that was a cool creative choice.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So great pick. I love Naiad.
Yeah.
That's a recent one that just came out. Yeah, it's great. It's heartwarming. It'll make you feel good. It's one of those at the end you just want to cheer and be like, hell yeah, humans are amazing,
Exactly. Naiad is on Netflix, and To Catch a Killer is on Hulu. So
cool. All right. So then my next one would be my number 7.
Yes.
Which is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, which now has a name change and is no longer called Part 1. I really wish I had the DVD or a poster of this with the Part 1 on it, because that'll maybe be kind of rare, since it got totally washed out by Barbenheimer. It came out 9 days before Barbie and Oppenheimer, so it just got crushed by them. Not the movie's fault. And I'm not necessarily a huge proponent of all the Mission Impossible movies. The last few, I think, have been really good. But this one blew me away. This one just blew me away. And not necessarily Tom Cruise. I liked Haley Atwell a lot.
Me too.
And Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh, I love her.
And Vanessa Kirby. Like, the 3 women in this were so good.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're playing each other. Mission Impossible movies always use face masks and stuff to pretend they're someone else. And there's a tense scene on a train with Vanessa Kirby and Haley Atwell. And it's just amazing. I saw this a couple of times in theaters. I watched this a lot when I was working at the theater. I would go in and catch this train scene. The ending is just high stress, tension filled. This train is going to blow up and go off a cliff. This is another cliffhanger, no pun intended, movie that we got to wait for this second part to, that I just can't wait for. So yeah, it was awesome. This is like what I would call a perfect blockbuster action movie. This is everything you want from it. It's not as beloved as, say, Fallout is, which surprised me a little. But I freaking loved it. The villain it's a little, I guess if I would say some criticism, the plot with the entity and the encryption, the computer stuff is a little
and
gray.
This guy from the past.
What's his connection?
Yeah.
That stuff's kind of like, all right, maybe could have been better. Maybe will be fleshed out when we get it as a whole piece. But yeah, I loved it, man. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. It's so damn good. Such a good action movie.
I agree. And my number 6 is, I tried to keep this one off, but I think I'm 20 years, I'm going to say, yes, this is an amazing movie. And that is Godzilla -1.
Cool.
Exceeded expectations, even though by the time I was able to see it, my expectations were already really high. I wasn't expecting a lot of it. It's a drama mixed with a monster movie, and the social politics are great, and it's never boring. It's everything you would want out of a monster movie and a big Godzilla movie. So I think it deserves that number 6 spot for me. So
cool. Yep, I agree. I also liked it quite a bit. Great Godzilla movie, and I haven't up until now been that big a fan of the Godzilla movie, so it's really cool that they did this one. All right, so then my number 6, you just did 6, right?
Yeah.
My number 6 would be When Evil Lurks. This is a horror movie we both loved.
Yes.
It came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it was in theaters. A few critics were talking about it, saying, oh my God, if you love horror, you have to go see this. It has stuck with me since I've seen it. Some of the most brutal and horrific things I've seen on screen, but in a great way, are in this movie. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It's in Portuguese, so that might be a barrier to entry for some. I think it's Portuguese, right, Mitch?
Yep. Keep going.
Yeah, it's South American. I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it's the premise is kind of like I was saying about To Catch a Killer being just another detective movie. The premise is residents of a small rural town discover a demon is about to be born among them. They desperately try to escape before the evil is born. That sounds like Insidious: The Red Door, or another one of those terrible PG-13 horror movies, but this is totally separate.
Yeah.
The character isn't a good person necessarily. He keeps making mistakes, kind of like we were talking about with Naiad not being a perfect character. And it's just awesome. It is scary. It is horrific. Do not show it to anyone under a certain age. This is not for parents. This is for if you like testing what you can handle seeing done on screen, but it is done awesome. That's When Evil Lurks.
So my number 5 is the Argentinian horror movie called When Evil Lurks.
Cool.
I was going to tell you then, but I was like, why interrupt? Because I'm going to talk about it now too. I don't have too much more to say about it. Right from the moment this movie starts, and you just don't know what's going on, and then you kind of realize you're in this whole other world, like where people like are living a certain kind of life, and they're calling priests, and you're like, what's going on? Is this in the future or the past?
Yeah.
And then it takes you for a ride, and I just didn't know what was going to happen next, and I can't wait to rewatch this one ASAP.
Me too.
It is very good.
I forgot to say something that I remember saying during the review. This movie had me involuntarily say, holy shit, in the theater.
Yes.
That rarely ever happens, but it just came out of me because I was like, oh my God, did I just see what I think I saw on the screen? So,
I've had that happen twice this year. Once during this movie and once during Ferrari. The car crash scene.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
I said, Jesus, like out loud.
Yeah, that's a rough one. All right.
So you're number 5.
So my number 5 is one that I've talked about, I think, a lot on here. This is American Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Cord Jefferson's debut film. This has Jeffrey Wright, Adam Brody, Issa Rae, Keith David, Sterling K. Brown is amazing in it. So Jeffrey Wright is the center of this. This is kind of a political movie. I've tried to get a lot of friends and family to watch this because I really liked it. And I got pushback from someone in my immediate circle saying something like, I don't know if I can relate to this. It's about a black character that writes a book, right? And I didn't push back on that, but I want to tell you that I got that feedback. So that's all true, but this guy was so relatable. It seems like he's just someone trying to go through the world, and something bugs him, a certain book, a type of writing bugs him, and the movie then kind of just goes on this whole left turn and really keeps you guessing. So yeah, I loved it a lot. Mm-hmm. American Fiction. It's really good. I hope it will withstand the test of time. You know, a lot of Oscar nominated. This is one of them. Get forgotten. But I really hope this one stays because there's a lot of good character work. Again, Sterling K. Brown, he's a totally side character, but his performance and character is really memorable. And you know someone like him, or you've heard about someone just like him, you know, with lots of problems. And it seems like a typical family. They're a little, you know, they're on the wealthier side. They're lawyers and doctors. But yeah, I loved it. American Fiction. It was awesome. That's my number 5.
I loved it too. My number 4 is one of the biggest movies of the year, and that's Oppenheimer. I don't think I have to say too much about it. This is I really love this movie, and at the same time, I don't know if I'm ever gonna watch it again. But I think it's a feat in filmmaking. It's hard. I don't know what to say, but it's just so well done. I think if Nolan gets best director for this, I think it's so well deserved. He did a great job. The entire cast does a great job. It is such an interesting story. It's a great history piece. So yeah, this is my number 4 of the year. Maybe it's a clap to the its status, but yeah, it's my number 4.
I'm really glad you put this on here. I had this on my list. I took it off only because it had gotten it's gotten plenty of praise. So I'm so glad you have it, because I also loved it. I saw this 2 or 3 times in the theaters. It's just fantastic. I just couldn't make room for it, but it has gotten plenty of recognition, so I don't need to recognize it with my 10. So I'm really glad you had it on your list.
Everyone's good.
Yeah, like you said, enough has been said about it. It's amazing. Everyone listening to this knows the movie and probably has seen it already. So yeah, that's really good. All right, so then my number 4 is kind of an outside pick. It's a one I saw early, and it just swept me up, and that is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Which is the coming-of-age story with Rachel McAdams and the young girl Abby Ryder Forston. And this is based on that book. It's for teenage girls about getting their period and growing boobs, something that I can't relate to at all. But it's just made so well. It's so heartwarming, especially Rachel McAdams' character, the mother. She's dealing with, trying to raise her daughter right. She has a tumultuous relationship with her mother. Her husband's parents and her parents don't get along. So there's a lot of drama here. And people know this book. Every time I've mentioned it to a woman in my life, they say, I read that when I was, in 8th grade or 9th grade. And yeah, they just did a great job here. There's other movies I could have, but I really wanted to keep this here because I loved it so much. It's just a sweet, heartwarming coming of age story. And I usually get one of these. Another one is At the Edge of 17 with Haley, not Haley.
There
Richardson.
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld, yeah, that's another one that has. She's a student, teenager, and these movies just hit me right in the heart, and I love this. This is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
You had one of these on your list last year that I can't remember, but
yeah, I know. I'll have to look.
It was something like this where I was like, oh yeah, you did love this movie, and then when I would not have expected you to have this on your top 10, but then when you said it, I'm like, yeah, you've talked about this a lot this year.
I don't know what it is, man.
I think it's worth talking about it, and Rachel McAdams has gotten a lot of talk about her performance. Like, some people thought she was going to get an Oscar nom. So
right, and I think if they had, let's just hypothetical, let's have this movie come out and switch it with May December, then she could possibly be in the race, right? Because May December was one where it was like, the 2 stars from that, Julianne Moore and Padme
Charles
are
Portman,
Yeah, thank you, Natalie Portman. Right, so if its release date had been switched, it could be in the conversation. So yeah, it's sweet if you have kids, if you are in the mood to have your heart warmed. I don't know, maybe if you're a gay man, maybe this is great for you too. I don't know. Yeah, it's just really, really, really sweet. Are You There, God?
I liked it.
That's my number 4.
I'm
glad I don't get embarrassed by having these picks on this show.
No, I mean, if I was a real man, maybe I'd make you feel bad, but no, I'm just kidding. So my number 3 is I'm not going to predict what the rest of your list is like, but my number 3 is okay. Also, caveat here: these top 3 could be in any order.
Yeah.
Like my top 3, if you told me tomorrow this should have been your number 1 out of these top 3, I'd be like, yep, okay, fine, I'll change it because I don't really care. But my number 3 is Poor Things, directed by the king Yorgos Lanthimos, of Dogtooth, The Favorite, The Lobster, some of my favorite movies of all time. This stars Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, and a bunch of other people. Yeah, this movie is just going to live in my memory forever. The character Bella Baxter is going to live in my memory forever. The messages this movie conveys are just going to live with me forever. I love Poor Things, and I don't know if I loved it right away. I remember coming out of the theater like, what was that? And then I've just thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I can't wait for it to come out on VOD because I need to watch it again. It's just so good. So, Poor Things. That's my number 3.
Right.
And this is your number 3.
Yep. So my number 3 is also Poor Things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. The faces you were making, I was worried that you were just going to be like, "Yep, not me, but good for you."
No, man, I love this movie. This is one of the movies that it makes me going to the theater every night like worth it because it is so different and fucking weird. This movie's just so weird. This director always makes weird movies. You never know what you're going to get. I'd seen pieces of the trailers. You see these like weird landscapes and bright, colorful skies. And I'm like, is this going to be like a metaphor piece? Like,
is this going to be like Wes Anderson?
Yeah. It's going to be artistic and pretentious. And it's not at all. It's not at all. It is hilarious. It's like really sex positive. It's like got a feminist tone to it, but not in like a 2019 Charlie's Angels way where they have to bring men down to bring women up in it. And like you said, Bella Baxter is just this cool creation of a character. Emma Stone is like insanely brave for doing some of the shit she does on screen. Like, I can't imagine. You'd have to pay me a good amount of money to do the stuff she does in front of a camera. And she kills it. She absolutely kills it. Like you, I can't wait to see it again. It's just super creative. Again, this is another one, though, don't watch with anyone until you've seen it yourself because there's a lot of explicit stuff in it. But it's also beautiful. The costumes are incredible. The outfits are crazy cool. And even the technology, there's animals mixed together like a duck with a dog's body just kind of in the background. The guy thinks through everything you're going to see. And, Willem Dafoe is good, and Mark Ruffalo is fucking hilarious in this. It's so funny. So, that's so funny we have Poor Things that both at our number 3. So, I loved it.
I just one more thing. You kind of said, like, how Lanthimos is weird, and I don't feel like he's weird for the sake of being weird,
Yeah.
Like these
Tim Burton is.
Right,
kinda.
like these these animal creations he has. It's never mentioned. It's just in the background. It's
not even commented upon.
No, it's not even commented on. It's like, okay, that's actually funny, and like they're not making stupid jokes about it. Even like the machine that Willem Dafoe uses, like it's a little in your face, but it's never explained. It's just the way it is. It's just, I don't know. He's definitely weird.
It's so good at visual storytelling, right? Because those things that machine Dafoe uses, the weird animals, that tells us stuff about Willem Dafoe's character without using words. It tells us visually.
Exactly.
And that's the whole point of movies is a visual medium. So, good call. Good call.
Yeah. So, my number 2, I suspect it will be on your list. But this is the new Christmas classic called The Holdovers. The Holdovers, that's Paul Giamatti with Divine Joy Randolph, who is on her way to maybe winning Best Supporting. Paul Giamatti could win Best Actor. He could. Carrie Preston, Dominic Sessa are all Sisa, who is a new actor. They are in this as well. Alexander Payne directs. But yeah, The Holdovers. It'll make you cry. It'll make you laugh your ass off. These are 3 incredibly real characters. Like you feel everything they feel. And if you watch this movie and didn't like it, call me, because we need to have a half an hour conversation, because it doesn't make any sense. So you're number 2.
Great pick. All right, so my number 2 is a horror movie we both loved and talked about before. Talk to Me.
Nice.
Australian. Right? Australian?
Yeah, I just didn't think you'd like this more than When Evil Lurks.
Yeah, I do. I think I do. It's hard. It's a different kind of horror movie, but this one really did scare me. I remember like being scared in a theater, which is so rare because we're adults now. Not much scares us, but this really did. The opening scene is great, and this movie's pedigree with these kids or people being YouTubers before, I really respect that they've worked hard to come up and make a real movie. Apparently they've already filmed other parts, or we've got more coming.
Right.
So this is just to give listeners a little explanation of what this is. It's it's a group of friends. They're all probably in their early 20s. There's a decrepit old hand, kind of like a monkey's paw, if you remember that from The Simpsons, or the old
Twilight Zone, isn't that it?
Twilight Zone, I think that's where it started. Or who knows, maybe that's even an older story than the Twilight Zone.
I don't know.
They do this little ritual, and you can talk and see dead people, basically. Not in a Sixth Sense way, but in a different way. And it was really scary. It scared the shit out of me. It was creative. These are all I didn't recognize any of these actors, so that made it more authentic. And I loved it, man. Talk to Me is super good. Really good scary movie. One of the best of last year. That was my number 2. So you probably can guess my number 1, but
and you can probably guess. You can probably guess my number 1. Yeah, my number 1. This has been my number 1 since it came out. This movie made me feel things and made me laugh more than any movie maybe in the last 10 years. And I mean, not feel things, but laugh. This movie just made me laugh so fucking hard, and just had a smile on my face the 2 times I saw it in theaters, and that is Barbie. I know it's
nothing wrong with this pick. You don't have
I know it's been talked about to the end of the earth, and it's Barbie this and Barbie that, and maybe some part of me feels like I should have left it off, even just because it's just so prolific and it's already getting all the praise, but I think it does. I think it deserves it, and I love it. I love Ken. I love Barbie. I love what they did with it. I love what Mattel let them do with it. I love Kate McKinnon. There is just every part of this movie works for me, and it's everything it needed to be. Well, it's way more than it needed to be. So it just hit me right.
They really could have made a Super Mario Brothers version where it's safe, it's fine, nothing wrong with it, but it pushes buttons, and it's grown on me too. I've come to like it more than when I first saw it, and respectable pick. I can see why it's your number 1. It's a great movie. I'm glad it's your number 1. So my number 1, you know what it is. You just mentioned it. I didn't want to change the order to make it match up, but it's The Holdovers. Paul Giamatti, Barton University. I saw this in the theater and immediately loved it. The trailer, not the trailer. The intro studio logo identifications are all done in like 70s style. The setting, the attention to detail in the setting and place and clothing. Posters on the wall, the porno magazines, the books they're reading, the halls they're studying in. It all was very obviously picked precisely, because to make it feel real. So a lot of my family's from New England. This was set somewhere in Massachusetts. My family's from up there. I've spent lots of Christmases up there. So it felt very authentic to a New England Christmas. And you'll laugh, you'll cry. Joyce Randolph, she is just incredible as a third character you wouldn't expect to mean anything, but she kind of is the emotional heart of the story. She kind of brings our two protagonists / antagonists together, and it's just so good. Like you said, I hope it becomes a Christmas classic. I showed it to my family members when I was down visiting them. I think over Christmas. Yeah, it was a Christmas break or New Year's, actually right after New Year's. Anyway, I showed them. I'm like, you guys are from New England. You're going to love this. And they all did. My aunt, my uncle, my dad, and my little 14-year-old cousin all loved it. So, yeah. It was
Did you see it twice in theaters?
I think I only saw it once. I think I only saw it one time. So I've seen it twice total now. And, I still think about it a lot. I sent you a picture yesterday of a Barton University, sports sweatshirt, like a gym shirt that they're selling. It's a fake university they made for the movie. And Paul Giamatti's growth through the movie is awesome. He takes the expensive whiskey at the end and swishes it around. It's just really well written, really well written. And Paul Giamatti is so likable in it. The special effect they do with his wobbly eye, it's all cool. It's all really cool. Such a good movie. That's my number one, The Holdovers. So let's talk. Or go ahead.
Well, sorry, I was just gonna say, when you sent me that Barton University, it took me a second to put it together. I should have gotten it right away.
No, it was hard. I thought I might have to tell you what it was.
Yeah, but I looked online. I'm like, Barton University. I'm like, I wonder if that's real. There is a Barton University, but it's in Greece or something like that. But they used 5 different schools to.
No way.
Yeah, Alexander Payne was so particular that he used 5 different schools for different settings, for the outside, for the gym, for this, for that. So I was like, and that makes sense because he really made it look like the feel of the school and everything is just amazing.
The music and score, I've added to the music. I added some songs to my playlist. It's just this slow white guy, soft guitar that just fit the timeline so freaking well. And just the they go into the city and you live in the north, so this, the ice and snow after it's been in the roads for a couple days, it's nasty, it gets all over your boots and shoes and pants, and you can just hear them slushing through it when they're lugging crap upstairs. And they've got hats, gloves, scarf, everything. I don't miss having to do that anymore, but it's just so authentic. So I'm not surprised about the multiple schools. The car he drove, my Uncle Paul is a big car guy, and when he saw it in the movie, he's like, oh that's that car. That is a car that was out at that time. So
that's awesome.
It's great. If you listeners, if you haven't seen it, and you liked, if you like the movie Sideways, this is the same writer director. Check it out. The Holdovers is really good, really, really good.
Oh, I agree.
So I was gonna say, do you have anything else? I was gonna say we can move on to our honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
So I think we can just go through these. I'll just list mine.
Yeah,
and then you can list yours. Okay.
Yep.
So I only have 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 or 7. So Killers of the Flower Moon, wanted it to be on my list. Saw it twice in theaters. So all 7 hours of that. Great movie. Just couldn't make the list. The Covenant. That was the Guy Ritchie war movie. I really liked that one. Yeah,
I gotta watch that.
It was really good. It was damn good, and it's not on many lists. Another kind of similar movie, Sisu. You and I talked about this a lot coming up to this. Guy doesn't say a word basically through the whole movie. It's a one-man show in World War I. Guy trying to get his gold to the bank.
2.
2. Funny, I talked to a friend at Super Bowl night. He hated that Sisu.
My brother hates it too. He's like, it's too over the top. It's stupid. And my brother loves war movies, action movies. He hated this.
Yeah. I was so surprised. My friend
Me
Steph,
too.
he was like, I wasn't into it. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. He didn't like that there wasn't any dialogue, whereas I kind of thought that was cool.
It's weird how that bothers people.
I know. Anatomy of a Fall. damn, I love this movie. So hard to leave it off my list. I imagine it's going to be on your honorable mentions. Flora and Son. That's this mother-son singing guitar movie. Loved it. Just couldn't make the list. And then Oppenheimer, like I said earlier, loved it, but it's gotten its praise, so I wanted to use a slot for something else. So those are my honorable mentions. What about you?
So bear with me. I'll just go through them, but I have up to 25 just because.
Holy shit.
Well, because there's so many good movies. So number 11 was American Fiction. Number 12, Iron Claw. Number 13, Spider-Man. Number 14, Killers of the Flower Moon. Almost, I wanted it to be up there, but just, number 15 is Anatomy of a Fall. 17 is Sisu. And then Talk to Me, Mission Impossible, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Man.
Yeah, To Catch a Killer, Blackberry, They Clone Tyrone. And John Wick 4, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, and How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
Man, all good movies. God, these are all good movies.
Yeah. And then there's even more good ones like No One Will Save You, Bottoms, Leave the World Behind, Saltburn. A lot of great movies this year. So it was really hard for me to pare it down, but that was our top 10s.
Sweet, we did it.
We did it.
2024, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're really in it. We'll just tell you guys what's coming out. On VOD now, you can watch American Fiction, which was in Ant's top 10. The Book of Clarence is on VOD, and The End We Start From is on VOD as well. And ISS you can rent now as well. And
that's on Flex, Mitch.
Okay. I think we both would recommend ISS to a small degree.
Yeah. It's fine. It's a streaming watch.
Yeah, it's definitely a streaming watch. So streaming now, The Marvels is officially on Disney Plus, so you can watch that for free. One of my guilty pleasures of the year, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, is on Paramount Plus. And then The Color Purple will be on Max February 15th. I really liked that one. Ant liked it too, I think.
Yeah, it was good.
Oppenheimer will be on Peacock on the 16th. And I guess this is more just a news topic, but Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, will be on Disney Plus
with some new
March.
Songs, extra stuff added. And then I can take coming to theaters.
Sure, yeah.
So then coming to theaters tomorrow, well, by the time you hear this, so for Valentine's Day, they're doing an early release. So Wednesday, the 15th, will be Madam Web and Bob Marley, One Love. I'll be seeing both of those as soon as possible. Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive doc. That is already in theaters around me right now. And then the Chosen episodes 4 to 6 we talked about. Also, I wanted to mention How to Have Sex is a movie that came out last year, but it is in theaters around me right now.
I should watch that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go see it, I think, tomorrow night. Or we'll see. I know it's like... with the
I've talked to...
I gotta check.
I've talked to some of your exes, and they say you should see it.
Another one that I want to just mention here because it's out in theaters now too, and we didn't talk about it on the show. Out of Darkness.
Yeah, see, I have a lot of friends who have seen it and are really liking it.
So I watched a few minutes of it tonight when I went. I was early to see the movie I was there to see, and I watched a few more minutes of it. It's really cool. I want you to check it out. I think you'll like this one.
Me too.
It's clever. It's
playing near me. I'll go.
They invented a language for this movie.
No way.
I thought they were. Yeah, they apparently wrote and came up with their own language because this is set like 40,000 years in the past. So we don't know what they were saying back then. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's like if you liked Prey, then this is like right in line with it. So yeah, that's what's out in theaters. Go see something, y'all.
Actually, and just before we go, some others that are coming to VOD this week. The Iron Claw will be on VOD the 13th. Miller's Girl will be out this Friday on the 16th on VOD. You talked about that guy.
Yep.
And Thanksgiving will be streaming on the 17th. I don't know what that doesn't make sense. Anyways, because I think it's already on VOD.
Yeah, but I swear I saw Thanksgiving showing in a theater like last week or the week before last. Maybe it was a dollar theater or something.
Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong. So VOD Thanksgiving, and then Prime Video.
Oh no!
This is Bottoms is going to be on Prime Video. So if you haven't gotten a chance to see it, you can watch that. So what?
Sorry, I had a connection issue for a second.
Oh, okay.
But I'm back.
So Bottoms is on Amazon Prime now, and Next Goal Wins is on Hulu. So those are the ones, and then like I said, Oppenheimer will be on Peacock this weekend. So a lot of good ones you can catch up with. So yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, Ant, thank you. That was a lot of fun. We did our top 10. That was great. We've put an end to the year, so thank you. And like you said, bring on 2024.
Yeah, man.
All right. Everyone, talk to you later.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to the Hollywood Persona podcast. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at The Hollywood Persona. Feel free to email the show at thehollywoodpersona@gmail.com and make sure to rate, share, and follow on whatever platform you're listening to our show on. It's the little things that help. Thank you.
Oh.